All right, so on Monday, if you were here, we looked at getting the underhook from when our partner's smashing us from top half guard position. And we looked at some of the different sweeps that include like old school, plan B. We got ourselves to the dogfight position. Today, we're going to specifically look at using half butterfly for some of our sweeps from that position. But we're going to look at one when we get the underhook and one when we haven't been able to get the underhook. So basically, Chris has got me here. I'm in my half guard and he's like fully crushed me through. So one of the ways that we looked at the other day to try to find the underhook from here is using the John Wayne sweep. So basically, we're taking this inside leg and we're hooking it tight into my partner's knee, placing my foot down next door to that one so you can see how my knees are clamping on the leg. And then I'm going to drive my partner to the outside. Obviously, if he doesn't base, then we can get the sweep. But usually, if we're fighting someone decent, we just kind of give him a little nudge, and the arm will come out, and it enables us to circle the arm through and go for the underhook. So what we looked at was driving the underhook in and coming up to the side, maybe coming up to the elbow, going to the dogfight position. But we're going to go with where my partner has wizarded my arm. Now, obviously, if he hasn't wizarded the arm, then I can make my way out and we can start taking the back. But if he has wizarded the arm, and every single time I like try to go in and get something, he's like basing out and just making life a little bit more difficult for me. Another option for me is to start using the butterfly on this side. So we've got the underhook, grab hold of the belt, or actually another nice option is if we take their gi out, we pull this tight into the body here as well. This is a nice option. It keeps us a bit more attached, a bit more controlled. We're going to put our hand onto the knee so that he's not able to get the inside and start switching his hips and crushing me back through. So hand onto the knee to keep us separated. Little movement of the hips, and I'm going to bring my butterfly guard to the inside. Really, really important here that my knee stays attached to my partner's hip and I don't allow my knee to come to the inside like this. Because now we can just basically sprawl through my legs and start passing. So when we put that half butterfly in, it goes in, knee to the outside, and the inside foot stays attached over the top of the leg. Don't feel like now that you've got the leg in for the butterfly that we can just take this off and start lifting. Because if he does, he's just going to back step off and through. So keep that over the top when we put the half butterfly in. I'm going to try to take this arm off the floor. If he's like trying to grab me, then I'm going to need to create a little bit off balance. So he has to post and base his hand on the floor. Then we're going to collect and pull the leg in, pull the arm in. Elevate slightly. Now, once I've started to get the elevation, then I'm going to take this foot off. I'm going to place the ball of my foot onto the floor. Now I'm going to lift my hips up. So I'm not doing much with this leg at all. I'm not like kicking in. I'm just staying attached. Lift up on the ball of the foot. Start bouncing through and up for the sweep. Okay? So again, we're being smashed in half guard. We use the John Wayne just to make him post, underhook. We start to move to the side and he whizzes and he kind of flattens me out and just makes like old school sweep plan B just not available. Hand's going to come to the inside of the knee. Make sure it separates. Little movement of the hip. Bring that half butterfly in. Now I need to get hold of this arm. Remember, this arm is either grabbing the belt or we can take the gi out and pass that through tight. Little nudge forward so he bases his hand. Collect it. Pull it in tight. Once I start to elevate, ball of the foot to the floor. Now it's about the hips. Get the hips high, bounce, keep following until we can complete the sweep. All right? So this one we're going to base on the fact that we can get the underhook, but he's wizarded and smashed us down. If he doesn't whizzer, we're taking the back. If he doesn't really smash us down, we can go deep under our partner and start looking for the sweeps that we did the other day, like the old school plan B, etc. Let's have a little dabble with the half butterfly. 1, 2, 3. So this time, for whatever reason, we were not able to get the underhook. So he's managed to get the underhook on me and he's like smashing down and I can't get my underhook back. So that's not an option. But we're still gonna try to play a little bit of half butterfly. So I'm gonna take the arm here and I'm gonna place the arm and frame it onto my partner's hip. My second hand, I'm just gonna place like onto his shoulder here so I can create a little bit of separation. The main reason why my hand's on his hip is so that when I start to move my hips out, he's not able just immediately to follow me. So if I leave that hand off and I shrimp my hips out, like he can just adjust himself and move himself into position. So I'm gonna place my hand onto the hip, we're gonna move the hip out, and then we're gonna bring that half butterfly in. Now, what we're looking to do now is, if I just start to lift him, for example, so if I start trying to go for a sweep, he's just gonna kick his leg off and he's just gonna pass through. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring myself in flat underneath my partner. Keep the half butterfly in, and I'm taking my other leg through and into his butt cheek. So I'm almost kind of like going deeper down onto my partner. Now what I need to do is I need to lift my partner up because I'm looking to bring this butterfly hook in as well. So my hand is going to go to the hip, to the body as much as I can with this one. Obviously I can't get quite as low with this one because his underhook's in the way. But I'm going to lift my partner up. Don't just try to use the hook. So if I just try to lift his hips at this point, like he's quite heavy or he could back step off. I'm going to use my knee to help lift his hips in. Then I'm going to use my hand, put my second butterfly hook in. Now this is key. I do not want to stay flat. While he's still in the air, I'm going to kick my legs up and I'm going to kick him away. I'm going to get up to this seated position. So I've got my two butterflies in, I've got an underhook, I've got an overhook. So this is where we're going to stop. I want you to get to here and then we're going to look at the butterfly sweep from this position in a second, okay? So again, we're in the half guard, he's just flattened me out. Hand is going to go to the hip, this one's just going to come into the shoulder, little hip movement, and I bring my butterfly in. Then I'm going to center myself up, nice and flat underneath my partner. Initially I keep this over the top because again I don't want him to just step off. I'm going to bring my knee in and kick away. Okay? So it's like multiple action at once. Lift his hips in so they become light. I'm going to use the foot and I'm going to use the push of my arms. Bring my leg through so it sits on my feet, and then I'm not going to just drop. Because if I drop and he's just in my butterfly guard and I'm flat on my back, it's not a great position. I need to, as he's in the air, extend the legs, use the weight of his body to lift me up to that seated position. So one more time. We're flattened up. Little movement, butterfly goes in. Again, super important, this knee's on the outside. Make sure the knees not come to the inside. Then I'm going to go down, underneath, and you see my knees kind of in his butt. I'm going to bring my knees in, lift, second butterfly comes in, kick away and sit up. We've got the underhook, overhook, and then we're going to look at the sweep in a second, okay? So this time, no underhook for us, but we're going to still use that half butterfly to advance our position. 1, 2, 3. The position that you should have ended up in here is this butterfly position. Now it's really, really important that when I kick my partner away, that I have a good position of my body in this position. So what I don't want is I don't want my butt too close to my partner and my head leaning back past my hips. And I'm having to engage my core to stay up. Like if I'm in this position, I'm not sweeping him. What I need to do is I need to have my feet in front, my hips back, and I need to have my chest in front of my hips. Still got the underhook and we've still got the overhook. So the sweep is not going to be too much different from the one that we did before. What I don't want you to do from here is go to your back and then sweep. Like, I'm not saying that it's not going to work, but against the better guys, it won't. So for example, what I don't want you to do is go straight back from here to your back and then try to like lift your partner over. The way that I want you to do this is we're gonna base our hand and we're gonna move our hips out to the side. The foot on the side where I'm gonna be taking my partner for the sweep, I'm just gonna tuck that one in. Now, as I start to fall down to the shoulder and the leg starts to come off the floor, I'm gonna go to the ball of my foot again. So on this back foot, this is gonna be key. Back foot, ball of the foot, and look, I get my hips in the air. You also see the head position that I have too. Head position is here so that you can't base his head off the floor. Head comes in front, we drop down, start to lift. Now it's not about kicking my partner. It's about using the ball of the foot to bounce through. When we get to here, we might immediately switch through, go to the knee cut. We might just at the end give him a little kick, come through into a side control position, or we might end up in mount position. At the end of the day, we need to sweep, get to the top, control, so we hit the 2 points at the end. So again, body position. Hips back, head forwards. Underhook on this far side. Overhook's gonna be here. Base the hand, move the hips, tuck the foot in. My head is in front of his head so we can't base. Hold the elbow, and then we're gonna tuck our elbow under, drop down to the shoulder. Lifting this leg with the foot, but remember, we're not kicking, we're not disconnecting. Lift the hips, bounce, 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 and follow through to the top position and the 2 points, okay? Once we get past that like 50% mark, you might give them a little flick, so you come off into side control, but it's not the way I prefer to do it. I prefer to stay attached, stay in control, so we end up maybe in the mount, or maybe with that quarter guard. All right, last one, guys. 1, 2, 3, let's do it.